Hey guys, it's Kneon. Welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. We're going to talk about the Rise of Skywalker because a lot of people are interested in this movie. The final end for the Skywalker saga again. Part of the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy. People are wondering what the hell is going to happen in this movie. There have been a lot of rumors, a lot of reported leaks. There's been talk of a test screening that went so badly people walked out. Now, the question is whether or not this actually happened. Because now, J.J. Abrams is coming out and saying, yeah, actually, there was not a test screening. But the way he words it is very curious. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the reported leaks and some updates to those leaks. Leaks that have been leaked to YouTubers, to Redditors, etc., as we lead up to the anxiously awaited debut of the Rise of Skywalker, and also Cats, hashtag Cats Army. Won't you please give a pussy a chance? Hashtag Cats Army. Alright, so before we get into the video, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on CLOWNFISH TV. I want to state they are views, they are opinions. People don't seem to understand that. We do have views and opinions on the latest goings on in pop culture. We try to be as factual as we can be, but we do insert a lot of opinions, just so you know. All right, so we talked at length for the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about these reported leaks about the Rise of Skywalker. We've been talking about this alleged test screening that was a complete cluster, a complete debacle that supposedly went so bad for Disney that people just up and walked out. Now, those leaks seem to have originated from a YouTuber named Doomcock. He's been doing videos on those. He has supposed insiders coming to him. Now, somebody at Disney must have been rattled because J.J. Abrams specifically addressed this supposed test screening rumor and said that it did not happen. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to actually tell you some information we have from some people closely associated with Walt Disney Company that supports the fact that there has been a test screening. I just don't think it was open to the general public, but there were absolutely Disney employees who were involved in this screening. The Rise of Skywalker didn't have any test screenings, apparently. Apparently it didn't. The Rise of Skywalker apparently didn't have any test screenings ahead of its debut earlier this month, according to the film's director J.J. Abrams. Abrams told Esquire in a recent interview that the film's release later this month will be the first time that anyone has seen it, other than those involved with the film and probably their families. Okay, this is important. Other than those involved with the film and probably their families. Of course, I've shown it at a friends and family screening, but we've never done like a test screening, Abrams told Esquire. One rumor earlier this year suggested test screenings for the film were a disaster before Disney CEO Bob Iger asked George Lucas to fix the film. However, if there were no test screenings, then apparently that would prove to be a false rumor. But as Abrams revealed to Esquire, no one has seen the final version of the movie. This is really awkward. Sure, I mean, the final, no, he said. He added, I have not even gotten to see the final product. So J.J. Abrams himself hasn't seen the final product. Now, I find that a little dubious. Now, here's the thing. Regardless of whether or not you believe the rumors, and they are rumors. You know, they are rumors, and in fact, I think the YouTubers and the Redditors that broke those rumors preface it by saying that they were rumors. Usually when there are test screenings like this, people start to squeal. Now, granted, this is Star Wars we're talking about. This is a big deal. You know, it's going to be really hard to shut people up, you know, when you're talking about a Star Wars movie. But look at Justice League. We talked about Disney's Aladdin. We talked about The Lion King. We had people who were at the test screening for both of those, public test screening, come to us privately and say, yeah, I can confirm it was on this date. I saw it at this theater. I had to sign papers. Please don't use my name, etc. So, you know, it's possible. It's possible that someone came and verified exactly when this took place. Now, we have independently gotten some people associated with Disney come to us and say, yes, this has absolutely been screened for Disney people. I don't know if it's been screened publicly, but it was screened a while ago, actually, for Disney people. Is it possible that maybe there are some wires getting crossed, that it was actually screened internally at Disney and the Disney people didn't even like it? I don't know. I don't know. You know, I do believe, however, that a lot of the leaks are true. I think a lot of the leaks, the story plots are true. Whether or not there's a test screening, I can't say. Of course they're going to deny it, you know, because, I mean, who wants to come out and say, yeah, the test screening was so awful that we had to rework the movie. Now, we do know, of course, that they did do a lot of reshoots. Something had to have prompted that, unless they just took a look at the cut of the movie and were like, yeah, this is trash. This movie's trash. We have to reshoot this, and this. Or they brought George in, and George is like, don't do that. Just don't do that. You know, who knows? Who knows? But this movie has gone through a lot of changes. There are reports of it being a cluster behind the scenes, and we've independently, I can tell you, we've gotten word of that too. So I can't vouch for whether or not there was a public test screening. I do believe the leaks. However, I do believe a lot of the leaks, because a lot of the story points, a lot of the ridiculous rumors are totally in line with how Disney would end it. And we're hearing them from multiple sources. And we're only a few weeks out from this movie premiering. If the story was radically different than what has been leaked, I think we probably would have heard, you know, conflicting rumors by now. Somebody has seen this movie. A lot of people have seen this movie at this point, internally at Disney or Lucasfilm or whatever. So I do believe the leaks. Now, for those of you who don't want to be spoiled, shut the video off. But those leaks include Rey taking the Skywalker name for herself, Rey being either the granddaughter of or a science project of Palpatine, you know, C-3PO being used to find a MacGuffin, his memory being wiped, Palpatine either being a clone or not explained at all, living on some iceberg planet out in the middle of nowhere, you know, etc., etc. And a lot of these leaks, these alleged plot points, were actually confirmed by the trailers. So this is why I think the leaks are legit, or at least somewhat legit. And it could be like, I remember with The Force Awakens, you know, there were a lot of rumors. Not all of them happened. Not all of them were in the final film, but they were. Some of those were actually in the film at some point. Like Anakin's ghost, you know, switching between Anakin and Darth Vader. There were rumors of that happening, and then they ultimately cut it from the movie. So I believe some of the more ridiculous leaks probably are true. And we may not see them in the final movie because they had the good sense to cut them out. You know, so we'll see. I do 110% believe this movie is in trouble. I think that there are a lot of cooks in the kitchen trying to cobble together a decent ending for this movie, and I don't think it's going to be that great. I really don't. I don't even know if this is going to please newer fans, let alone all of the old school fans who feel disenfranchised by the sequel trilogy. I think Disney at this point just wants to wrap it up, get it over with, and then move on to other stuff. So I don't know. But of course, you know, we have a lot of the friendly media outlets crowing about how there were no test screenings. The leaks are bunk. I think there's a kernel of truth. I think there's a kernel of truth in here. It could even be somebody from Lucasfilm trolling YouTubers. You know, who knows? But again, I'm going to put a link to Bounding Into Comics. Bounding Into Comics, which covered Doomcock's most recent video. Now, I think a lot of these rumors are coming from him, from an alleged insider. I believe he has said before that they are rumors. Take them with a grain of salt. I believe some of these rumors are actually floating around on Reddit too. Take it with a grain of salt. I know The Last Jedi wound up being 80% wrong. You know, the movie wound up being very, very different. Then here it turned out that Lucasfilm was actually actively trolling YouTubers like Mike Zero, etc., from what I understand. And I could totally see them doing it. Disney puts disinformation out there all the time to try to figure out where leaks are coming from. So employees that they suspect of leaking stuff, they will tell them something ridiculous. And then if that something ridiculous makes it to YouTube or makes it to a blog or whatever, a message board, then they know who leaked it. And that could be what's going on here too. Again, I have no idea. But I think there's a kernel of truth. And I do think this movie is going to be an absolute cluster. We know that the general public doesn't seem as interested in it as they did the other two Star Wars sequel movies, as they're already predicting, even though it's supposed to do well over 100 million, they're predicting that the overall trend is down. It's actually going to have the softest opening of any of the sequel trilogy movies. And why wouldn't it? They've already killed everybody off that anybody cares about. But if it turns out that they backpedaled on some of their more questionable decisions, I don't even know if we'll ever find out about it, at least not for many, many years. There were rumors that they were going to blow up the Falcon. There were just all kinds of ridiculous rumors. Matt Smith was supposed to be a younger clone of Palpatine, and he was in the movie, then he wasn't in the movie. You know, it does sound like some major changes took place between whatever cut of the movie was screened for whoever and what we're finally going to see in the theater on December 20th. Or on the high seas. Depends on who you ask, I suppose. Anyway, they're really pumping up the ending on this thing. If the ending is the leaked ending, which I believe it probably will be, then it's going to piss off a lot of fans. So they have the cast reacting to the film's ending. So earlier today, the cast of the new film sat down at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland to do a live stream Q&A with Star Wars fans across the internet. And inevitably, the subject of the film's ending came up. Rather than risk spoilers, the interviewer asked the cast to make the facial expression that best conveyed their feelings about the epic story's ending. The result was hilarious. Yeah, kind of hilarious. John Boyega does not look amused. Anthony Daniels looks like WTF. Ray is kind of laughing. You know, John Boyega looks pissed. Okay, so the rumored ending, of course, is that Ray takes Luke's name. She is the Skywalker who rises. That the Rise of Skywalker is about the rise of Ray, and that's not going to set well with original trilogy fans. If they're going to go ahead and do this, I don't know if they're prepared for the backlash. I mean, we're talking... that is going to upend things more than The Last Jedi did, even though it looks like they're trying to play it safe by bringing Palpatine back and etc., etc. It looks like if they go down that route, and I've heard this from multiple people, that is probably what's going to happen, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be an absolute disaster. And, you know, it's no wonder that Disney's kind of holding off on doing more Star Wars movies until they see how this one plays, because it's going to be a mess. Also rumored to be in this movie, Finn's origin explained finally after Phasma is killed off at the very end. So maybe this is what John Boyega had to push for, more time for Finn. Speaking of John Boyega, J.J. Abrams was definitely upset over that leaked script. This is why I think the spoilers are real. I don't think they were trolling people at all. I think this actually is a legit thing. I think somebody got a hold of a copy of the script. Now, whether or not it was most current movie or not, somebody out there knows the basic story plot points, the basic beats, and they leaked it. They leaked it online, and then they sold it. They were going to sell the script on eBay. So expect more deflection, more shade to be thrown at YouTubers and blogs that have basically spoiled the overall plot of this movie as we get closer to the film's release, because they're going to be like, that's not what happens. That's not what happens. Don't believe YouTube. Don't believe the bloggers. Come, spend money and come see the movie for yourself and decide for yourself if this is legit or not. And if it turns out that the leaks were true, then you know what? You can't believe Lucasfilm anymore. You can't. Who knows? We won't know until, well, the 18th, because I guess some people are getting it early, whether or not this is true. But yeah, they're already trying to say that the everything's fine. Everything's fine here. There were no test screenings. Everything is fine. This movie's fine. This movie is not in shambles, despite what everybody has been saying. And the evidence points to the contrary. So I'm going to wrap this one up. We're going to keep an eye on the Rise of Skywalker. We're about 2 weeks away. And I'm looking forward to the fallout, aren't you? Hey guys, thanks for watching CLOWNFISH TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.